Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Hello and happy Tuesday. Welcome to Run It Back. Michelle, Chandler, Lou, Will. This is day 2 of the slow burn as we get ready to go on Thursday when the finals actually get things started. We'll have a couple guests coming on a little bit later, hopefully. And you know what? We'll just start looking ahead at some of the minor facts, the storylines, the things that are building around these two teams, of course, being the Pacers and the Thunder guys. The Thunder, I think, they were going to be here. They dominated the entire season. But what I find fascinating is that the Pacers came in as a 4 seed, and that's not so crazy. We've had lower seeds make it to the finals before, but we always looked at the West as being where all the parity was, and it was so close, this, that, and the other. The fact that the 4 seed out of the East has made it, Chandler, how unlikely does this feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty unlikely. I don't think many people had them pegged as getting to the finals, especially with the powerhouse Boston Celtics, the Cavs that made that historic run early on, had such a great regular season. The Knicks adding Karl Anthony Towns. Obviously, a couple things went their way with some injuries with Philly and some other teams out of their way, but this has been an unbelievable run. The 2023 kind of in-season tournament, them making it all the way to the finals, them playing the Lakers, that to me and that to a lot of other people, that was a surprise. Now they're in the NBA Finals, so they've just continued to get better. Carlisle has done this before, where he's went to the Finals 2011 in Dallas, and he took down that super team, the Miami Heat, and the Big Three, and that was one of the most unlikeliest championships too, where Jason Terry catches fire, JJ Barea is unbelievable. Obviously, Dirk was the go-to guy there, but Carlisle's been here before, and he knows how to get these guys to play. He knows how to motivate them. And they've been doing it collectively. This has been a true team effort, obviously led by Halliburton, led by Siakam, but everybody's been getting involved. Everyone's playing their role. Everyone's defending. And these guys are peaking right now at the very, very, very best time. And their offense is clicking on all cylinders. And they're going to have to be elite on both sides of the ball to make this a series against the Thunder.
Yeah, think about this, y'all. This whole playoff run that they've been on, we've picked the other team to beat them every single round.
Every time.
We really have. We picked Milwaukee, we picked Cleveland, we picked the Knicks, and they've proven us wrong 3 straight times. So at this point, I don't know what to expect from this Indiana Pacers team. I know one thing they can hang their hats on. They're going to play defense. All 5 guys are going to be on a string. They're going to be connected. Offensively, they're going to try to score in less than 4 seconds. If not, they have a great half-court offense that they can rely on, And so when you have those tools, when you have those assets that you can go to, that you can lean on and be worthy, and knowing that you can go to those things and get good production out of it, I think this team is equipped as Oklahoma City for this NBA Finals run. So this is going to be a great matchup. I'm excited to see it. Indiana is making history. They're confident. They're going with the underdog mentality, and it's been working for them.
On the other side of this thing, the Thunder, this is crazy. I mean, I've read it so many times, and it still just seems odd. 61 wins that they've won by 10 or more during the course of this season, both regular and post, which is the most in history, of course. That's one more than that Warriors team that had 73 victories. Lou, they're so dominant that when the games are actually close, it's almost like they panic a little bit because they're so used to these double-digit wins and they don't know what to do. But how dominant, really, in hindsight, as we're looking at them getting ready for the finals, has the Thunder's run been?
They've had a great year. And they've been able to somewhat kind of fly under the radar because of the expectations that we've had for this team. We expected them to be a good team, but because Cleveland came out of nowhere and had the historical season that they had, we spent a lot of time talking about Cleveland and what they've been doing. And so Oklahoma City, they've been quietly racking up win after win in this regular season and been dominant in the postseason as well. I don't know if I'm out of the game or if this matters, but it felt to me that 15-16 Warriors team, they just felt like they were unbeatable. And it probably feels like that to me because it affected me. It affected my winning column. It affected my career, having to see that team 4 times a year and knowing how dominant that team was. That felt different to me than this Oklahoma City team. Now, however, now I'm in my Crocs. I don't have to lace up my shoes. I don't have to worry about the Oklahoma City Thunder, but they've been just as dominant as that 15-16 Warriors group that I can remember in recent history. Obviously, you got the Bulls and you got some of those classic legacy teams in the 90s and the early 2000s, but I compare this team to that 15-16 Warriors group, but if they can finish it, if they can go out and get a championship, they put themselves in that conversation along with the rest of those historic teams.
Yeah, and I think, Lou, the reason we don't compare it to that 15-16 team is because all those guys were in their prime, right? Like these guys, Jalen, SGA, Chet, they're still on the rise. They're still so young, which is kind of why we haven't really given them the flowers and the respect that they probably deserve. Now go and get this championship. I think that's all just a narrative that we tried to create for other teams to, to try and go beat them. But that I think is why, because this team is so youthful and this team is still so like they're blooming. And that team with KD, Steph, Clay, they were all in their prime. They were all multiple time all-stars. They were already first ballot Hall of Famers. Like that, I think, is the difference. The 95 Bulls was a great team. How about the Celtics last year? Obviously, they had really good breaks happen for them where a lot of guys went down in their way and they kind of had an easier path. But man, that was a pretty dominating series last year where we expected them to win. They dominated through 82 games and just went and won the championship by a wide margin. But if this team goes in and they get it and they finish the deal and they happen to beat the Pacers in 4 or 5 in a dominating fashion, it's going to be hard not to compare this team to those great teams, just have what they've done during the regular season, how they've handled, a Game 7 against the MVP, 3-time MVP Jokic in the playoffs, and now they go to the finals and they win. This would be a historic, one of the greater teams that we've seen, and they're not going anywhere, which is the scariest thing.
That's where we're going to stick around here. Because, yeah, as you're talking, they're 4 wins away from a championship. And as you just mentioned, it does not feel like they're going anywhere anytime soon. They'd be the youngest champ team since 1977, which is saying a lot. And so the fact that we may or may not be looking at the beginning of a dynasty, you never know what a dynasty's starting because you don't know until you're about 3 years in. But Chandler, it feels very much like what we're seeing right now is sort of the origin story of what could be our next great dynasty in the league. Does it feel like that?
Yeah, and I know it's early. I know it hasn't happened yet, but it is like this is the beginning. This is the beginning, and we always talk about Sam Presti and the job he's done, the assets he's acquired, the draft picks he still has. He's got a lottery pick last year, top pick or toe pick. I'm not sure how you say it, but people are hyped on him. He got hurt this year, missed all season, but he's supposed to be one of the next big European things that we haven't even seen him in uniform. So yeah, I think this team is going to continue to get better. I trust Sam Presti fully to make the right moves, to get rid of the right guys, to let some guys walk, to acquire new guys like an Alex Caruso, like a Hartenstein. The dude can't miss, and it just seems like these kids are wise above their age, and they're just continue to mature and get better. They enjoy playing with each other. They've already bought in clearly on the defensive team. This is one of the best defensive. They shouldn't be this good at defense and bought in at this age, right? Their coach is young, for God's sake. So not only there's going to be no turnover even at the head of the snake with Dagnall. He's going to be there for a long time. And there's something to say about that. You rarely see that nowadays, where a coach has that long runway and that long leash to continue to grow and build with these guys. So even that aspect of it, where they locked in a coach for a cheapish deal beginning, I think that's going to change when he re-ups. But everything is going their way. They're going to win multiple championships in the next 5 years. Hopefully, knock on wood, they stay healthy. But I know the Western Conference is good, and everyone's going to start building to try and compete against them. But this team is going nowhere, man. And I think they're going to win multiple championships.
This is what I'm trying to figure out, because as built, this team is primed to be together for another couple of seasons as built. Where do you trim the fat? Like, all of these guys are essential. Like some of these guys that aren't even getting playing time and he can throw them in a mix, they even go out on the floor and they give you something, right? So where do you trim the fat? What guys do you let go on this offseason? Because right now they have all of the ingredients to continue to build. They got a young coach, they got a young core, they got a GM that knows what buttons and what moves to make. I don't know where this team goes from here. On the other side of it, you have Rick Carlisle, who's going to be a Hall of Fame coach. But those guys are also building legacy. They're also in a position to do something special. And so with OKC, this is going to be a great matchup. It's going to be a great battle with both teams. But I don't see this OKC team going anywhere in the near future. Only thing that can hurt them is actually being hurt, is injuries and guys going out of the lineup. But we even seen them weather that storm when Chet went out. When Chet went out, they still continued to roll, and he came back, and it wasn't weird. He fit right in like a glove. and they just kept marching forward. So I don't know what's going to happen in the near future, but this team has all the ingredients, man, and they're primed to be able to dominate the Western Conference, dominate the league for years to come if they can get over this year and try to get a championship in this first crack at.
I'm looking at these notes. The 15-16 Warriors, they won 88 total wins, right? If the Thunder win the championships, they have 84 wins. They are 4 wins off the most ever. Like it is just ridiculous what this team is doing. And I think that's what's so much fun too, is just the future. The future's brighter than the present, and they're winning a championship. How is that? Like you never really look forward to the next couple of seasons so much while you're contending for a championship. So it really is amazing. And not just the NBA. I've said this before. This team is set up for success more than any sports franchise around the world. So, hats off to them. I hope they get it done. I think they will get it done. I'm just hoping it's a great series.
So here's what's interesting, right? For everyone who cried about super teams being put together or superstars just changing zip codes, but it was always to a big market team because those were the attractive places. This is literally the opposite of all of that, because here are the notes. 3 years ago, they were a 24-win team. 3 years ago. 2 seasons ago, they were in the lottery. And now we're sitting here talking about them as very much the clear-cut favorite to win their first championship, all under the tutelage, the guidance of one Sam Presti. I think he gets a lot of credit, Lou, as far as when we talk about sort of that position in sports. But do you think he gets enough?
Absolutely. We don't talk about this team without Sam Presti involved in that conversation. Do we not? I don't know. We've called him the architect, and we've given him credit for even having assets and things, moves that he can make still in the bank. He's still got a lot of plays that he can make in his back pocket. If he wanted to, he can flip this whole entire team next year and still be okay with everything that he has left in the bank for this organization. So he gets all the credit in the world for what he's been able to build, what they've been able to accomplish up until this point with such a young roster and a young coach. Give him all the credit in the world. Give him all the flowers. But he's very much involved in this conversation as a Jerry Krause when they were building the Bulls teams. Every time you talked about them, at some point in that conversation, you had to talk about Jerry Krause, along with a number of great GMs that had long lineage behind that. Danny Ainge was one of the guys that we always spoke about when it came to the success of the Boston Celtics. Obviously Pat Riley and all of these guys. Sam Presti is right there in the lineage and the conversation of all of those guys. But he has to be able to get this one, and they got to go on a run after that to be as legendary as, say, a Pat Riley and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and you have to give him credit, right? Because we talked about it last week. It feels like SJ's homegrown because he came there so soon. He's been there, and he became the MVP. He became who he is today under this organization. So I do think that counts for something, that this team was developed. This team was raised here. This team wasn't, partnered up. They didn't squad up in an off season and go create a super team like we've seen across the league happen. So I think that's why you have to appreciate them even more. You have to respect them even more, that they have started from scratch and pretty much got to the Mecca. And so this is unbelievable. And yeah, Sam Presti, he deserves a lot of flowers. Just as when we talked about that Warriors dynasty, you can't talk about that without talking about Bob Myers and drafting all those guys and bringing all those guys and kind of doing that same kind of, makeup of a roster from the draft and from free agency and from bringing the right pieces and fitting in guys, the Iguodalas, the drafting the Harrison Barnes, like all the little moves that no one, even LaShawn Livingston, like those are the pieces that mattered for that dynasty. And now you see the Cason Wallaces, the Carusos, the Kendrick Williams, the guys that come in, those are the pieces that matter. So Sam Presti deserves a boatload of credit. Dagnall, I've known him. He was at University of Florida with me, with Billy D. He's a quirky dude. He's to himself, but man, he is a savant. He is brilliant. Basketball's X's and O's, and he's clearly has the personality that can relate to this young kind of budding star team. So they have the perfect fit. Now they have to go finish the job, right? Like now all the pressure, all the expectations are on them. Everyone thinks they're going to go win. Let's see how they handle that, and let's see if they can go do that.
Yeah, it's about as much pressure. Go ahead, Lou. Sorry.
No, my bad for cutting you off. You know what's crazy? This team fits so well together that we keep saying that they're homegrown. Like they went and got they went and got Hartenstein from New
They
York.
did.
They went and got Caruso from. But these guys fit so well. It feels like that they've been there. Even SGA came over in a trade. Even though it was his second year, it feels like this is right. This is where home is. He's supposed to be in OKC. And so, again, to Sam Presti's credit, he went out and got the right guys for this organization. He went and got guys that fit the mold. He didn't go out and try to get big, sexy names to just make a splash. No, he went and got great role players that fit in well with this group. And look at where they are now based on those decisions being made.
I think his
Lou,
people, they're all team first, right? Like all these guys are team
Absolutely.
first guys. So his people reading skills are very, very good.
And you know what's funny too? Look at a guy like Hartenstein, Lou, and look at a guy like Alex Caruso. They're role players on this team, right? Like they're glue guys. They're fitted.
Absolutely. For sure.
They make $30 and $20 million a year.
Woo.
Happen to be on another market, not winning. If Hartenstein goes back to the Knicks and they lose, the fans are going nuts. We gave this guy too much money. He's overpaid. This guy makes $30 million a year, and no one talks about that because they win, and he does his role, and he mastered his role. Caruso, he's making, what is he? He's making $10 million this year, then 18, then 20.
Nice.
And that's to be the seventh man and come and play defense for 19 minutes a night. And nobody cares because that is his role. That is what they've established he's going to do coming here. And he's worth every penny. So it's funny. A lot of guys always get talked about based on their salary, but these guys make a lot of money and there's no animosity. There's no jealousy. There's no hate towards them because they have a role and they do it. And sometimes that costs 19 million. Sometimes that costs 20, 30 million. But man, when you win at the level that the Thunder have been winning at, nobody even hates on your salary, which happens all around the league.
I mean, how could you? There would be nothing negative you could say because it's all working. Like there's not one single thing that you could say, well, that might have been not the right move so far. Anyways, yeah, we do have two small market teams. Not sure if anybody's heard yet. And after the Pacers beat New York, it was said by Miles Turner that the super team situation, not effective as it used to be, and that the new trend in this league is, quote, the power of friendship. The Zen in me loves that. Chandler, are you loving this?
I love it. I respect it. But like, no, you go and put a Kevin Durant on the Celtics right now, they're going to bust their ass. And you know what I mean? Like you go and create a super team. Yes, they're going to have more talent, but there is something to say about chemistry and friendship and less turnover and actually enjoying going to the facility every single day and playing for your brothers and leaving it all out there. It's easy to say that, right? Like you say that a lot. Oh, you know, I'll run through a wall. Or a lot of times it's just BS, right? This feels like these are real two connected teams, and that does matter. Now, I don't think the super teams are over. You see the reports, Giannis and KD have talked about maybe joining up. All these big names are on the move this summer. Like there's still going to be those free agencies and those GMs that go and want to get the stars, want to get the big names together because why wouldn't you? And that's obviously worked in the past. But there is something to say about this and the consistency of anything. Do everything consistent, and that works for anything in life, let alone putting together a basketball team. So I do agree with him, but unfortunately, I don't think the days of super teams are quite done yet. Actually, I think there's going to be a lot built this summer.
Come on, let's argue.
How are we?
Let's argue. Let's do it. Listen, he makes a point. I didn't really realize it, but he makes a point. Our last 5 champions, you got to think about it. We talk about Toronto, no super team.
Nope.
Lakers, no super team. Mind you, they did have Bron and AD. That's a lot, but that's not a
Just stars. Yeah, superstars.
Bucks had stars, not a super team. Golden State, bunch of stars.
Shocking. That was a shocking win, though. That was not the team we thought.
That wasn't the team we thought, and then you go Boston, and then you look around the league and you look at the teams that are considered super teams and the struggles that they've had. Right, they're a little top heavy. You could talk about, I mean, all of the talent that
Phoenix.
the Clippers have had. You could talk about Phoenix for sure, and Philly,
Yeah,
so
Philly.
on and so forth. He makes a point. When you look around the league, there is evidence there that this may not be as effective as it has been in the past. But I agree with Chandler. You put the right guys together, they're gonna bust your ass. A lot of times that anywhere that you can drop Kevin Durant, besides Phoenix, you're gonna have an opportunity to win a lot of basketball games. Yeah, whatever
Besides
happens,
Phoenix.
yeah, let's just put Phoenix under the rug and pretend like that never happened. But besides that, it's a shift. It is a shift. Teams are finding one or two guys that can get you there and guys that can go around them that fits in perfect and fits in well, that do their job, that do all the dirty work, and that gets them there. You know, that's almost a Boston blueprint when you go out in free agency and you can go get you a Drew Holiday that can put you over the edge, put you over the top. Now, OKC, they've done the same thing. They've been able to go out and get guys that are going to put them in the opportunity to put them over the top. Indiana as well. They've done a great job in the draft and in free agency and putting them in a position to be here, going to get a Pascal Siakam, you know, out of a trade. And so again, with that point, he makes a great one, but the right mix of superstars, the league is going to adjust, right? We can all agree on that. Whatever is working, whatever is successful, the league is going to adjust around it. You look at Golden State. When Golden State was running it, they're the reason that we're shooting so many three-pointers. Back in the day, when Boston put the big three together, you have to find a way to compete with what's working at the time. And right now, team basketball is in charge.
Yeah.
I also wonder, you guys, because when we say super teams, we're obviously referring to a handful or two of big names, but those are guys who are on the aging outside of sort of what we're discussing. So I'll be curious where this gray area is, where this new generation, if they start to put together super teams, what that will actually start to look like. Because now, I feel like we're looking at a bunch of teams that have organically done the slow process, which is, I mean, honestly, it's kind of fun to watch. It's boring to just throw things together. We want to see the work behind the scenes. We know SGA, he's got all the awards, right? He's got the MVP, regular season, Western Conference, all of that. Gilbert Arenas talking about him. And I feel like Lou's been saying this. Fact that he hasn't even hit his prime yet. I mean, he's 26 years old, and as we've been talking, looks like he might very well be on his way to his first ring. The not hitting his prime, though, for the rest of the league is a little terrifying, Lou. Do you agree?
Oh yeah, we got time. But he's close. But he's close. I like where he is. I like the fact that you can kind of see him on the floor figuring out new ways to win basketball games, figuring out different things that he can put into his bag and put into his game. You know, he hadn't been called the foul merchant in years. This year, that emerges. Next year, he's going to put something else in his game and so on and so forth. And that's what's going to be exciting about seeing SGA along with a lot of these young budding superstars coming up in our league. Being able to see the maturation of their game, them adding to their game, them getting older, them getting more mature in this bowl. So looking at SGA right now and thinking, wow, he can actually get better than this is going to be a scary sight to see for everybody that's on alert.
Yeah, if 33, 7, and 5 on 52% from the field, 90 from the free throw, 2 steals, a block, like if that's not your prime, I don't know what is. Now, can he consistently keep doing this? I don't know how much better the dude's stats can get with this roster that they have. Like, again, can he go somewhere? Could he obviously average more points? Yes, he has mastered, the mid-range. He has mastered getting to the foul line while still getting his teammates involved and while still winning. So, again, I think he's brilliant. I think he's unbelievable. He shoots 37% from the three. I guess if there was one knock on him to be, trying to get that north of 40, but it's not really what he does. It's not who he is. And he's so efficient. How often can you have your guard leading scorer, leading ball handler shoot over 50%? It rarely happens. So the fact that he can do it at such an efficient clip is truly amazing. And I think it again goes back to PRESTI and Dagnall and the situation and the role players that they have built around him makes him even better. SGA right now, he'll be great on 29 other teams. He is this good with this team, with this offense, with these players, with Lou Dort going out there and hounding the other team's best player, with Chet and Hartenstein protecting the rim when he does get blown by a baseline. You know what I mean? So this is the perfectly orchestrated team and constructed team. And he's brilliant. And I do think we have so many more years of this to come, but I just don't know how much better his stats can get. My God.
I mean, I guess it would be that they remain consistent, but that his team is every single year in the finals. Like I feel like that's sort of his.
Which I'm
growth.
not betting against that.
No, I'm not either. At all.
I don't know if how much room he has for improvement, I think where the improvement will come in, Chandler, is just more consistency, right? I think some of these numbers where you can get percentages up, I think that's where you're going to see the improvement in this game. And even on the defensive end, like you look at Michael Jordan, you look at Kobe. After a while, they did so much and had so much success on the offensive end. They wanted to add defensive accolades to their resumes, so they went out and got some first team all NBAs and things of that nature. Those are also areas that he can improve in and where he can get into his prime, where he can make it even scarier than what it is now.
Everybody's wide open when I ask this question. Both sides, GMs, coaches, I don't care. You decide, Chandler, you first. Whose legacy will be most affected by the outcome of this finals?
It's hard to not say SGA right now, to get his first and to create that dynasty and to, kind of get that ball moving on this franchise, just being the top dog for years to come. Could also argue Tyrese Halliburton. Like, this guy's a couple months ago, he's been voted the most overrated player. He clearly, his personality is ruffles some feathers, right? He can put an end to all that. He can be the true underdog story. He can knock off the best team that's in the NBA right now, and that could kind of completely change the trajectory of his career and any doubters that possibly are still left. But you could go either way with this. Both of these guys are already great. Both of these guys have already solidified themselves as absolute stars. But I think winning a championship, like, how are you going to hate Tyrese Halliburton if they go and they win this championship? And he's obviously a huge point. You can't say anything else about this dude if he goes and does that. So I think that could really, really affect his just everything about him if he goes and he gets this one.
Yeah,
unless you live in New York.
Right, unless you live.
They're taking credit now, so that's fine.
I'm going to piggyback on what you said, though, Chandler. But what I do feel is somebody's legacy will be impacted, but I think it's going to be a positive impact. I don't think there's a knock on either one of these guys, whichever way it go. Like, even in OKC's case, we tried to give this championship to everybody that we can imagine. We talked about Denver. We talked about Boston repeating. We even had a Lakers conversation at one point this year.
We did.
When the Clippers were rolling, we kind of had them in that conversation. We put all the veteran teams that told us that's the popular thing to do. And this team is still young. We don't know. They're kind of on the fringe. We never clearly cut said that, hey, OKC is going to win the championship this year, until some of these teams started getting eliminated. Then they became the favorites. Obviously, Indiana, we hadn't had a conversation about them winning the championship. They've done everything that they can as the underdogs to put themselves in the spot that they're in now. Like I said earlier in the show, we picked them 3 straight rounds to lose, and here they are. So whichever way this goes, I think it'll affect one of these young superstar guys positively. And we got to start throwing Pascal Siakam in this conversation as well. We can't keep overlooking him, and we can't let him continue to fly under the radar. So many of these guys on both of these teams are going to have opportunities to win championships, and it's going to change the trajectory of how we look at them in the course of their careers. But I think it's going to be all positive.
I agree.
That's a good point.
Like, let's just say, hypothetically, the Thunder sweep the Pacers. Do you look at the Pacers or Tyrese Halliburton any different, or like, I don't
again?
Like,
if you're in New York, yes, there's that's the asterisk to all of this. They're going to be like, "Ha ha, told you." But everyone else, I think, wouldn't say that. It wouldn't
change my opinion at all. No. It wouldn't change Carlisle's legacy. It wouldn't change the growth of all, how good that bench has been. It wouldn't change anything, in my opinion, if they do happen to, get blown out by the Thunder. Again, so I agree with you, Lou. I think the expectations and the legacy is going to be all positive coming out of this series.
What a nice feel-good moment, you guys. We got ourselves a finals where it's all happy on the other side. That doesn't happen very often. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, Antonio Daniels, joins the show.
Run it back, run it up, run it back,
Let me get a little more. I'm going all the way up. Everything I do, man, need to be major. Oh my goodness, Antonio Daniels. Can I get a little more?
Oh, that's right. He is here. Longtime NBA vet, champion. I listen to him every day on NBA radio. By the way, Antonio Daniels, I'd like to just show you the shirt I wear on a daily basis. Vintage. There you are in cartoon version. Does that make you feel old?
Well, when I turned 50 this past March, that made me feel old.
I'm looking at them clips like that ain't that. AD I played with right there.
Oh, no. The AD that you played with was the last year of his career with his knees completely gone, with a torn ACL, PCL, RCL, DCL, any other CL.
Yeah.
By the way, you did have, there was a nice overlap there with Lou. Do you have anything you can share with us about the sweet, sweet Lou?
You know what? I don't even know if Lou remembers, but I still owe him $100.
What?
We made a
Go
bet.
on.
We made a bet. We made a bet on the Memphis, and I believe it was the San Antonio series during the Memphis and San Antonio series, and I actually lost that bet.
Wait, the 8 seed, 1 seed series?
Yes.
That series? Oh.
That series.
Dang. Okay. Well, $100 is $100, Lou.
I gotta come collect.
You know what? You know what, Lou? Where are you? Are you in Atlanta?
I'm in ATL. Yep.
Okay. Next time I come to Atlanta, dinner's on me, brother.
Say less. All right, that's a deal.
Oh, I love that.
AD, I want to ask, man. Now that the NBA finals are set, give me your predictions. Give me the vibes. Well, how do you see this thing playing out?
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like I'm the guy that has always underestimated the Indiana Pacers. I actually picked them to lose first round against Milwaukee. Then I picked them to lose second round against Cleveland. And then I picked them to lose against the New York Knicks.
Yep.
I guess 4 times a charm because I'm picking them to lose against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Against the Thunder.
That's right.
Man,
That's right, Chandler. But I mean, with all due respect, this is a really good basketball team. You see a young and upcoming star in Therese Halliburton, who has been fantastic. But listen, man, this is no disrespect to the Indiana Pacers. This is more about giving respect to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Coming into the playoffs, we all thought, you know what? They're inexperienced. They're too young. We don't know if they actually have enough to get over the hump. There is no skipping steps. I haven't seen a defense like this in a long time. So it's not about disrespecting the Indiana Pacers. It's more about giving respect to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I got the Thunder in 5.
Yeah.
There it is.
All right.
Okay. Antonio, you're not alone on that, because even us on this panel, we've been going against the Pacers all postseason long. And again, I think it's just because the trust factor of it, going against the Giannis or going against these teams that they went. But they do have Tyrese Halliburton, and there's been a Pascal Siakam, and now their bench is unbelievable. But Tyrese Halliburton, there's been a lot of debate whether he's a superstar or not. Can you answer that? Like, is he a superstar? Is there levels? Is he a star?
I think this is all subjective as far as what a superstar is. Now, if we're talking to me, I'm just talking about to me, superstar transcends the 4 lines, transcends it. It's not about stats. It's not about wins and losses. It's about other things. It's about charisma. It's about commercials. It's about selling shoes. It's about global presence. It's about all the other things outside of simply scoring a basketball. There are a lot of guys that I know you played with, Chandler, a lot of guys I know you played with, Lou, that can score the basketball, that are great NBA players, but that doesn't put them in the superstar category. So I think there are levels to this. I don't know what, to each person, like I'm sure if you ask all of us, if you ask myself, if you have Bees, if you have you, Lou, and you ask Chandler, I'm sure we may all have 4 different interpretations and definitions of what a superstar is.
Agreed. Because AD, I'll tell you what mine is. When these guys come into town, and if them ticket prices stay the same,
that's right.
You ain't a superstar yet.
That's right.
If that 150 ticket is still 150 when you come into town, and somebody got to remind you that, hey, you know, so and so here tonight, that ain't superstar status. When you get dressed and you lay your clothes out, and hey, next week, so-and-so is in town, we going down to the game, and it's something to look forward to, and that ticket price is a little higher, and you're affecting the economy in that city, you're affecting how that city move and the way that restaurants promote, and hey, we're gonna do this at the bar, and we got an after party here and all of those. If you don't affect how that city moves for that night, not superstar status yet.
And I agree with you. And maybe it's not up to us to determine what a superstar is.
Oh, yeah,
maybe
subjective for sure. Yep.
Right. Maybe the fans will determine what a superstar is, because you're 100% right. You know, next year when the schedule comes out and the ticket prices come out, the fans will determine who a superstar is. We can sit here and we can discuss it all day. I think a superstar is, and I think a superstar is, but we all know there are certain teams that we played against that had certain players where when they came to your venue, you saw a ton of their jerseys and you saw a ton of their following. You know what I mean? You had to determine, like, am I still at home? Is this a home game for me?
Yeah.
Right. Is this a home game for me? And even now, being the color analyst for the New Orleans Pelicans, there are certain players that come into town in New Orleans, and it's a different vibe. It is a different vibe. Like, it's an electricity that's in the arena that is not present when everybody else is there.
Yeah, I think back to that game, the Warriors in Orlando this year, where they were louder for Steph Curry than they were for their own home team. I don't know if that's happened when Indiana's gone to an opposing gym. You know what I mean? So, we can nitpick all day.
But that can be built, though. That can be built.
Maybe
Agreed.
not yet.
Agreed.
Clear. That can be built. Yeah.
Realistically speaking, are the fans ready to move on? Are the fans ready to move on from LeBron and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Chris Paul, like from that generation? Are the fans truly ready to pass that torch to the next superstar?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that's the whole, what people crying about, like, oh, we don't have the Lakers in the finals. We're like, okay, who cares? Like, we got a lot of stuff going on in the finals. That's great stuff. And you know this, AD, because San Antonio is a small market, and we had to hear that for years and years and years. And then 1999 rolls around and happiness starts. And I'm wondering if being there as Tim Duncan starts to ascend into his superstar stratosphere, do you see some of the similarities? Is there anything that you can kind of see from Tim Duncan to SGA that this is probably where he's headed?
You know, I don't, not individually, but I see a lot of similarities collectively between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs. People are going to say and discount everything they possibly can as to why they are as good as they are. Oh, well, you know what? They are good, but they're boring. Oh, you know what? The Oklahoma City Thunder are good, but I don't like SGA style of play. So you're going to do everything that you possibly can to discredit why they are as good as they are, as opposed to simply saying, you know what, man, this is a flat out good basketball team. Man, think about it. Right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder on the season are 80-19. 80-19. And you know what's dominating the headlines, though? SGA, and is he a fill in the blank, free throw, whatever it is you want to call it. That's more that's dominating the headlines more than anything else. Oh, Oklahoma City is good, but I'll tell you this, and I would ask you guys this question. When is the last team that you've seen in this league that honestly, they can put 5 guys on the floor who you can honestly say are all deserving of being first or second team, all defensive, all talent type of players?
Man.
Been a while.
Yeah.
Gotta agree with you. Another guy that SGA has been drawing some parallels to in his impact, and you were in the OKC, you were an analyst at this time, is Russell Westbrook. How have you seen the advantages that SHAI has been afforded, what he's done in the city, how he's impacted OKC, how he's elevated the city and elevated himself, and the impact that he's had in OKC the same way that Russell did?
You know how hard that is to do in a small market? And I understand with social media now, things have changed. And again, no disrespect to the big markets. I have to say that before I have to preface that before I say what I'm about to say. But it's awesome to see guys embrace being in a small market and elevate that small market. Because what we're accustomed to seeing in the past is you have a good player in a small market, and now either the player is thinking of ways to get out, or there's a national narrative surrounding that player about how to get him out to a bigger market. When I saw Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant win MVP in Oklahoma City, in one of the smallest markets in the NBA, that speaks volumes. And in today's NBA, with social media being as prevalent as it is, to watch Shai Gilgeous-Alexander not even following their footsteps, and I dare to say this, but almost surpass it, if he has the opportunity to bring an NBA championship to Oklahoma City, I think that's truly special. And that should be the topic of conversation as opposed to some of the other topics.
Yeah, Antonio, you kind of led me right into my next question there. SGA, regular season MVP, Western Conference Finals MVP. Now they're in the finals, heavy favorites. If he can win this championship, Does that make him the greatest Thunder player of all time over Kevin Durant, over Westbrook?
Ooh, you trying to get me in trouble? Listen, it's hard not to, because when you put them all next to each other, and we all know this, because we can't have a conversation about the greats of generations or the greats for a particular team without splitting hairs. SGA has won an MVP. So did Russell. So did KD. SGA has led the league in scoring. So did Russell. So did KD. SGA, if he wins that NBA championship, sets himself apart, because that's something Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant didn't do.
Mm-hmm. AD, we got to get a little Pelicans. Obviously, we got you here. Your day job. And, there was a lot of talk about Zion, what's coming, what's going to happen. And then we've got these serious allegations that have now come out. And I'm wondering if the talk around the team has gotten louder just on the idea of do they move Zion? Do you think Zion's there next season?
Obviously, I'm as far as the allegations, I can't speak on something I'm not knowledge on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I wouldn't even feel comfortable. I'm not dodging the question. I just don't know. I know as much about that as everybody else does. For me, I know that now Joe Dumars, being the president of basketball operations, him and Zion have had numerous conversations. There's a reason that they sent Zion to the draft lottery to represent the New Orleans Pelicans, right? Yeah. They're trying to turn the page now and move forward with this young man being the face of the organization and the face of the franchise.
So no rebuild, because I swear this is one of those teams where we're like, are they rebuilding? It's like the Bulls now. It's the new version. Do you think it's time or no? You want to see if they can really stick with it?
I mean, the thing is, it's hard to rebuild with a young team.
Yeah.
Like, you can honestly argue you're in the middle of a rebuild, but to rebuild from something, you have to tear something down. Remember, this is a team, since Willie Green has got there, that has not got out of the first round. So here's the issue that has always surrounded the New Orleans Pelicans. Everything centers around one word, and it's health. Everything centers around the health of this team. If you put this roster whole and healthy next to any other roster in the Western Conference, this is a top 6 team. This is a playoff team. But if you look at what has held this team back over the last 5-6 seasons, Zion's been out. DeJounte Murray tore his Achilles after breaking his hand. Trey Murphy had a season-ending injury. Herb Jones had a season-ending injury. CJ McCollum was out for a significant amount of time. Jose Alvarado. And listen, I'm not telling you guys something you don't know. It is very, very difficult to win in this league without your core being whole and healthy. For me, I just want to see what this team looks like whole and healthy for a consistent amount of time.
Yep, that's the dream. AD, love this. I'm so glad we got you on. We're listening today. Give Rob a hard time. His knowledge of movies is sad and pathetic.
Yes,
as far
it is.
As the years. Thank you. I guess pass it on. We'll talk soon.
Sir.
Appreciate you guys.
We'll be back.
Run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up.
All right, guys. Sham Charania, shout out, said that Indiana is turning into, look at me, a destination. Okay. After being called overrated by his peers, can you see more players now after seeing what they've seen want to go and play with a Tyrese Halliburton? Lou, you're smiling. Why don't we start with you? This ought to go well. Don't do it.
Listen, if they can live in the field house and just play basketball and do their thing, great.
That's fair.
This is a setup, but I gotta speak my mind. I don't know about that. Chandler, please go, Chandler.
Chandler has no problem just burning all bridges to and from.
No, it's not. It's not a destination. And I think if you want to play in a great offense for a great coach and with a great point guard in Tyrese Halliburton, yes. Now, is it Miami? Is it New York? Is it LA?
Way to center us, Chandler. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. All right, let's do this, because San Antonio, I live there. I still live there. I also am very self-aware. It is not a destination. Like, you don't wake up one day and be like, I'm going to move to San Antonio, Texas. Okay, so I think that's fair. And I think Indianapolis is probably in the same boat. But when I ask that, what I really mean is as a player, and let's say you're more of a homebody type player, so some exist. You look at what they have, you look at that coach, and you think to yourselves, I'm looking at the whole landscape of the NBA. I'm going there.
There you
That's
go.
a different.
Now,
That's a different
I was about
story.
to say that's a difference. That's a different
Like, I'm not
thing.
saying you're going there to party, but you go in there
but-
like this would be a good spot.
Oklahoma City.
It'd be nice to have the option though. But
Well, sure. Always.
Like OKC is building something there. I want to be a part of basketball wise, and no world is that a destination. You know what I mean? So it's two different questions there.
And sometimes less is more. When you're in some of these markets, and especially some of the smaller markets that doesn't necessarily have a lot of distractions and things that can kind of knock you off of your pivot, that's a good thing for certain players, you know. And so it looked like it's worked for these two teams. You know, you look at OKC, the camaraderie they have. I'm sure that was built by them constantly being in each other's presence and being around and going to dinners and having the private kickbacks and getting to know each other off the court and then translating that into being successful on the basketball court. And probably the same thing with Indiana. And so as a destination, off the top of my head, I don't see that part. I've been to Atlanta quite a bit, and they've been very fair and kind to me, so I didn't want to diss Indiana. But they know, like I know, it ain't a lot to do there. Yeah. Steak and Shake is my favorite place to go.
What about sugar cream pie? Have y'all had sugar cream pie?
Steak and Shake was my spot.
And the Pacers free agent pitch, they're talking about like playing with Tyrese. They're talking about playing for Rick Carlisle. They're not talking about the city. They're like, I mean, they're not talking about. And again, off seasons are pretty long. Off season, and you're traveling. You have so much to do during an NBA schedule. It really doesn't matter. But like Lou said, you kind of want the option. But winning cures all that. I want nothing to do with Oklahoma City, but I would go play for that team right now for a year, for 2 years, like no problem. Like, because that product is really good basketball wise. Destination.
No, you didn't have to just throw that sentence in there.
I absolutely love destination.
St. Elmo's is fantastic. The shrimp are a little too spicy for me. But
we're done.
The destination, come on.
I've read more about Indianapolis and the state and everything that it gives. I know so much about Indiana right now. It's crazy.
It's like joking.
Where should we go to dinner, Bees? Where should we go? Share.
Well, apparently we have to eat sugar cream pie, but they do put noodles with their chili, and I have real problems with that. Also, shout out Joe Kim Noah. They just released a list of top 10 American cities to visit, and Cleveland was number 3. We'll get to that on the other side.
He was being a jerk.
No, I swear it's on there. We'll be right back.
Run it up.
All right, Lou, I got one for you. Jeff Teague said that SGA saved the NBA, which, with the way he plays by bringing back the mid-range. What do you think? You buying that? I don't know what needed to be saved.
I like the fact that Jeff gave somebody their flowers. I could appreciate that. Listen, save the NBA is a heavy burden to put on somebody, but I will say it is a breath of fresh air to see somebody playing in the mid-range again and taking what's given and not worrying about numbers and analytics and just playing the game naturally how it goes. I do love that part of his game, so for sure.
Saved it.
Yeah, I think it's versa, right? It's a balance. There's too many threes. Now you get a guy that's getting to the mid-range and getting to the free throw. And now he's getting to the free throw line too many times. So there's a balance.
Always.
The NBA is a stretch, but I love that Jeff's giving some flowers.
Yeah, the league that sells its rights for
they come rare and few and in between.
All right. Boogie, back. Mañana. See y'all then.
Run it back, run it up, run it back, yeah.